Hi, I'm Rich Bucuri from Pointer and Bucuri Injury Attorneys, and today I want to talk about what type of damages are you entitled to in your injury case. So when we're talking about elements of damages in Indiana, there's a jury instruction that actually lists all of the damages that you can claim in your personal injury case. And so even though your case may not go to jury, this list can be basically the black letter law of all the damages that you can claim. And so what it starts out with is the nature and extent of your injury and your ability to function as a whole person. So when we're talking about this damage, we're talking about what type of injury did you sustain? Was it soft tissue injury? Was it a spinal cord injury? Was it an orthopedic injury, broken bones? And then how did that affect your ability to function as a whole person? Were you able to perform your activities of daily living, or were you impaired in some way? Secondly, we're going to talk about whether your injuries are temporary or are they permanent. And here we're talking about your pain horizon. Were you suffering from your injuries for a period of months and then everything resolved and it was fine? Or are these injuries permanent? After you went and got treatment, then did your doctor tell you that, hey, you're still going to be suffering from some of this stuff for the next few years or for the rest of your life? Then we're going to calculate the value of your lost time and your earnings. So what time did you spend, for instance, going to the doctor to getting medical treatment? And then also, what work did you miss? If it's significant, then we may call an economic expert to go through your work history and determine what the value of your lost wages are going to be for the rest of your life if you're permanently impaired. Then we're going to take a look at pain and suffering. And pain and suffering often involves emotional evidence. We'll have members of your family or your friends or people that observed you before the accident and then now after the accident and talk about how this has affected you, not just physically but also mentally. And then we're going to talk about the value of your medical treatment. So whenever we gather all your medical records, we're also gathering your medical bills, and we're going to have to put a value on your medical treatment. Aggravation of pre-existing conditions is something that sometimes the insurance companies will actually argue does not go in your favor. So if you have a pre-existing condition, what they're going to often argue is that you're actually suffering from the pre-existing condition and not from the accident itself. But if you can show that if you had, for instance, previous back issues or you had headaches before, but they got worse because of the accident, then you can make a claim of aggravation as damages. Then if there is disfigurement or deformity, and what we're talking about here is scarring, and if you have scarring, then sometimes we'll consult with the plastic surgeon to talk about scar remediation, whether that's a possibility and how much that would cost. And then finally, life expectancy. So we talked earlier about whether your injuries were permanent or not. If they are permanent, then we can use your life expectancy as a multiplying factor in determining how much pain and suffering that you're entitled to or how much lost wages you're entitled to. So if you have 50 years left in your life, or you're expected to have 50 years left in your life according to the mortality table, then we can say 50 times this is what your level of compensation should be. So these are the 8 elements of damages that can be argued in the state of Indiana for you to recover for your personal injury case.